Yeah. So they have asked one question, what is JavaScript? Okay. So guys, with I think Pooja, so you can do the recording option because I did not concentrate on these things, recording and all those things. Okay, fine. So what is JavaScript? If anyone asks that question, so first we have to tell, so JavaScript is one scripting language. So if you know, then you can explain what are the advantages of JavaScript. So JavaScript is used for communicating the data from one page to the other page. We can develop the widgets. So we can use JavaScript for the form validations. Like that, you can explain, okay, 2 to 3 advantages at least. So if you know disadvantages, so JavaScript, we have some drawbacks. So those are like, so whenever we have to disable the JavaScript, so we can't work on JavaScript related events or something, right? So second one is even we are able to see the complete code of JavaScript. So there is no security of code, right? So this type of things you have to explain. So if they ask what is JavaScript, okay, so they did not ask specific to the what are the JavaScript advantages. They have asked just what is JavaScript. Then you have to explain a little bit JavaScript related things. Okay, so then after that, I have asked one question. So what are the data types in JavaScript? So just simply explain primitive and a reference or non-primitive. So what are the primitive data types are available? Non-primitive data types are available. So only 5 primitive data types are available. So remaining all are non-primitive data types. Okay. So what are those? So number, string, boolean, undefined, and null. So then immediately once you explain that one, so then immediately they will ask question. So what is the difference between undefined, not defined, and null? Okay, so undefined means if you declare variable but you did not initialize. Okay, so for example, you have declared one variable but you did not initialize the value. If you did not initialize any value, if you try to access that variable, then it will give the undefined. So without declaration of variable, if you try to access directly some variable, I'm using k variable, even I did not declare the variable, then so reference error, it will give not defined error. So I have declared variable, but I have initialized null value. So if you try to access, then it will display null value. These are the differences between undefined, not defined, and null value.
Sir, are you sharing your screen because we are unable to see?
Oh, 1 second. Yeah, even I'm explaining only, you know all these things,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Just we just wanted to reconfirm. If you're sharing, we are unable to see.
Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the questions I have written, JavaScript, data types. And one more thing, so at the time of starting only, you have to inform me. So if I did not see the chat window, so then you can immediately ask any one of the persons. Okay, if I write something, so then you can inform me. So, sir, could you please share the screen? Even if without writing anything also, sir, could you please share the screen? Okay, at the time of starting only, you have to inform me. Okay, fine. Yeah, fine. So after that, what are the things we have discussed? So I have discussed with function, right? So what is function and what are the advantages of function and what is callback function? These things I have asked. So what is function? If anything, if I ask, so function is a reusability of code. So whenever we are defining function, so that would be common for wherever you want to access, we can use that entire function related business logic. So wherever you want. Okay. So if you write callback function, like for example, if you write, okay, what is callback function? For example, if I write one function, this is the main function. So then if I pass as a parameter another function, so this function is nothing but callback function. Okay, so this is very useful at the time of so React.js, Angular, Vue.js. So these are regularly we will use it. So first main function will execute, then callback functions will execute. Okay, so generally whenever we have to subscribe the data, we will get the two types of results. One is success result, second one is the failure results. So those two results would be callback functions only. Okay, fine. So just if you pass parameter function as a parameter, so then we will call it as callback functions. Okay, just short and as well as sweet answers. Do not explain too much of things. If they ask something based on that, then you have to explain remaining things. Yeah. So now what else I was discussing related to these functions? Okay, fine. So now we have discussed about, yeah. So then we have discussed about object. So what is object? How many ways to create objects? But don't say there are two ways to create objects. We have multiple approaches would be there. But mainly we will use literal way and second one is the constructor way. Okay, but what is object? Group of properties and as well as methods. So combination of properties and methods is nothing but object. So there are mainly we will use the literal object and constructor way of object creation. Okay, fine. So seventh one. Okay, if you need any extra information on particular question, you can ask me. Okay, I'm explaining the flow of the what are the questions. Okay, so for object I have explained. So then we have discussed about how to find out the object length, right? So directly we do not have any object length related things, but object is nothing but key value pairs, right? If you identify the keys, then we can identify the length of the object, right? So for that, so they have given object dot keys of that particular object. For example, where customer is one object, customer ID is 101, customer name Sanchiro. This is the object. So this is one key, this is another key. Okay, so they have given object dot keys of customer dot length. So then it will give the result of the keys length, right? So that is nothing but object length. Okay, it would be 2. So I have asked this question. So but directly there is no length property or length method. So I have discussed. So what is an array? So can we pass different data type values? Yes, it's possible. So because array is nothing but so indexed collection of so fixed number of homogeneous or heterogeneous, both similar or different data types it will allow. So I have asked with that thing question, but most of the members only similar data types. No. So JavaScript it will accept so different also. Why? I have asked this question also. Okay, so for that, so JavaScript is loosely typed or dynamic typed scripting language. The data type will get determined automatically at the time of what is at the time of execution of the program. So that is the reason. So even we can provide the so different data type values for the array. So this is not applicable for the remaining programming languages because so array is homogeneous data elements in other programming languages except Java and Python. Okay, so So that is the reason I have explained. But if you go for the TypeScript, so again, so strictly typed, that is not loosely typed. So there it is not possible. If they want to provide, they may provide extra concept. So actually tuple concept is there. Okay, ignore that thing. So that is not required for us. Okay, fine. So what else we have discussed? Array related methods we know. So we have like push method would be there. So pop method would be there. So splice method would be there. Slice method is there. So I will focus on mostly what is the difference between splice and slice method. So splice method, if you want, we can add and remove elements. But slice method, if you want, we can particular part of the elements. So that is the main difference. Okay, so delete keyword is there. If you want to, okay, I have asked this one also. If I want to remove particular element, so if you give 2 3 elements or 4 elements, if I want to give you second element, then what will happen, that type of things. If you want to remove particular element, so through delete keyword, so then length of the array should be same as earlier. Okay, so just so same as what are the things length would be there earlier. So even though if you remove the particular element, it will occupy the based on the browser space, sometime x space, something it will give, but still that occupies the space. That's why length would be same only, but this delete keyword is not at all recommended for deleting elements. So that's why we will use in real time mostly splice method. Okay. Yeah, so what are the things I'm remembering? I'm writing here. If you find any new questions, if I forgot any questions, you can ask me, I will explain. Yeah, then how to empty an array list. Okay, so here what we have to do. First approach, so directly that array, for example, so where array equal to, I'm providing 2, 3, 4, something. So how to do so empty array? So that array equal to, you can provide the empty directly. So means reassigning the value, empty values. Second approach, array is having not length method. Array is having length property. If you make it 0, then values would be empty. So third one, you have already explained pop method or shift method. So, but you have to utilize inside the loop. So otherwise, how should we know? So how many elements, how many times you have to write pop method or shift method, something, right? So we have to use so while loop or for loop or something. So we need to find out the length. So array dot length. So then we have to use so that particular so array dot pop method. Okay, so based upon that, so it will delete the all the values from the array. So they will give the option, even fourth option, all the above. So based on these ways, we can empty. So mostly we will say first 2 options. Okay, so just we have to make it empty array. So or otherwise the length should be 0. Then we can do it empty an array. Okay, so arrays related questions over. So next, what else we have discussed?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Who is that?
Paras.
Yeah, Paras, tell me.
Yes, sir. Most of us didn't answer wasn't able to answer one question. What is closure?
Yeah, I'm closer is the last concept, right? I'm going one by one.
Okay, sure.
Type closer, I will explain, don't worry. So once if I explain all the questions, still if you have any pending related things, then you can ask me, okay?
Okay,
So
sir.
if you have any chat window or something, you can ask me. Yeah, fine. So now, so I think we have explained until arrays, right? So now string related things. So what is the difference between So double equal to operator and triple equal to operator. Okay, if anyone asks, then first tell me the answer like this. Double equal to operator checks only equality of data. That's it. Triple equal to operator checks both equality of data and as well as data type also. So that's why if you give where, so a equal to something 0, so where b equal to, so new string of 0, so it will give first one, so string literal, this is string object, we will get it. So types are different. That's why while comparing a equal to b, so content is same, so it is displaying true. But while checking with triple equal to b, so the content is same, but data type is different. That's why it will give the false. So definition wise, so you have to inform the double equal to operator checks only equality of data and triple equal to operator checks both equality of data and type also. Okay, this is the answer. But if they ask example, you can explain, or otherwise you can let's take an example. So string is where s equal to something. So where s2 equal to something like new string of something. So if you compare those two, if is equal, double equal to this one, if triple equal to this one. But before explanation of example, you should explain the theory. Okay, fine. So what else? So objects, arrays, strings. Then we have, I did not ask us any questions from the bomb. Okay, set timeout, set interval. I have asked, I think, one member, right? So difference between set timeout and set interval. So set timeout will execute only once and set interval will execute keep on based on that time interval. Okay, so one more question from the set timeout set interval. So actually I want to ping this one, but I pinged or not. Let's see. Console.log one, we have to write it. So then we have to write the set timeout related things. But set timeout here, we are using O small. So at the time of multiple choice questions, they will give the O cap sometimes, but O is small here. Okay. Set timeout. So here I'm trying to give lambda function. Oh, we did not know lambda function. We did not discuss. Console.log. So here we will get, so console.log, oh sorry, 2. And last we have to provide console.log 3. So then what is the output means? It will give 132 because so that set timeout, it will go to the some stack related things. Actually event loop mechanism would be occurred. So it will go to the that particular, so whatever the things would be timeout related things, event related things, asynchronous related things. So it would go to the separate memory. So it will do the process there. It will come back and it will come to the stack. Right? So then, so meanwhile, it will execute the console.log 1 and console.log 3, but after 2 seconds, means 2000 milliseconds, it will come and it will display the 2. So that's why it will display 132, but not 123. Okay, so these are the things. And next. Regular expression for email validation. Did I ask that question to anyone? Okay, so if you want to use email validation by using HTML5 with regular expression, so we have to use the pattern attribute. I have asked this question from someone. So inside the pattern, you have to provide the validation, whatever the validation required, you can provide. For empty field validation, we have to do it like based on the required attribute. Just remember required and pattern. So required, so are used for validations. Okay, so what else we have discussed? Okay, fine. So now we will move to the next step. So what is that? So prototype we have discussed. So what is a prototype? Okay, so prototype is nothing but if you want to add any new properties or any new methods for the existing function, then we will use this prototypal inheritance. Okay, so by using prototype keyword, we can add properties and methods for the existing function. So at the time of runtime, so function name dot prototype dot property name, function name dot prototype dot function name means new function. So then what will happen? So directly will not add those properties and methods to the existing function. It will create one prototype object. So there it would be available. But while accessing that employee or a customer or product something, so we are able to access those things because internally some inheritance is going on. So based on that parent properties methods, we can access from the child. So that is the thing about prototype. Yeah, next one is, so what is closure? Okay, closure is a inner function. So just tell that inner function. First, you have to explain closure is the inner function which has access to the outer function related variables and its parameters. That's enough. But if you want to explain, you can explain local variables and global variables. But the main focus is it's a inner function which can access outer function related variables and its parameter. I need that type of definition. So that is closure. So we have given clear notes for each and everything. Okay. So what else we have discussed? Yeah. So now let me go to the small things. So for example, where e equal to 10 I have given. So later, if you try to override something chiru, so then it will display the latest value. Okay, so because JavaScript, there is no specific strictly typing, loosely coupling, right? So dynamic typing, you can assign any value, no issues, it will take it. And last one, it will take care. So then we have discussed about, so one more programming syntactical related questions. Okay, fine. So if I remember, then I will explain. Now you can ping me the questions. Or you can ask the questions.
Hello, sir. Hoisting is also left.
Just. So what is hoisting? Yeah, I will come to HTML, CSS also. First, we will discuss about JavaScript. Hoisting is nothing but moving all the declarations that may be variable declarations or that may be function declarations to the top of the scope. For example, we know we are writing anonymous function string methods. Yeah. So a equal to, I'm trying to provide some, okay, 10. Even I want to declare where a later. So this is variable hoisting. So I want to call the function. So later I'm trying to write the function. Okay, sorry, function add a comma b. So even though no issues, because internally, so what's happening? Moving all the declarations to the top of the scope. So this concept is internally occur. This concept is nothing but hoisting. So moving all the declarations to the top of the scope is nothing but hoisting. So there are two types of hoisting. One is variable and second one is the function level. Okay, that's enough. This is internal concept. Yeah, someone is asked one more. Semantic elements come to the, he asked, so HTML5. So first question, what are, oh, 19, right? I'm not writing few questions. Okay, leave it. So what are HTML5 features? This is a very important. So because if you want to go for as a web developer, so front-end developer, they must ask this question. So because you should aware of minimum what is HTML, right? So that's why they will ask first this question only. Okay. So then I will explain. So what is the difference between this one? Also they will ask block level and inline elements. Yeah, and I will come to the CSS. Yeah, so now what are HTML5 features? So what are the things you have to give the only names. Do not explain anything. So web storage, so that is local storage and session storage. Semantic elements. Okay, I will write that one extra question, right? So I will explain later, but semantic elements are, okay, first HTML5 features. So you have to write down. So these are the points. So HTML5 features, first one. So we know normal things I'm writing, web storage. So here local and session storage would be there. So don't explain what is local storage, what is session storage. If they ask, then only you can explain. So I'm explaining what are HTML5 features. Okay, so new input types they have introduced. So what are this? So input type equal to number, input type equal to email, color, date, time, range. All these are so new input types. So third one is entertainment API. So that is audio and video. I have asked separately these questions, but so just explain until here. That is more than enough. So semantic elements. Okay. So then, so drawing this graphics SVG and so canvas. If you want to draw any diagrams, then we will use it. 2D level or things of the graphics. Yeah, circles, rectangles, all those things. Yeah, so now what else we have used HTML5. So app caching mechanism. So then local session, new type, entertainment, semantic elements, SVG canvas, app caching. Yeah, tags also they have introduced. So data list. Okay, fine. If you explain at least 5 features, then it would be very good. If you remember all the features, then no issues. It's good only, but at least 5 features you have to remember. Okay. So next. Where is that? Yeah. So they have asked separately. Again, I have asked. So what is the, okay, I will write it here. So what is the difference between local storage and session storage? So local storage, so we'll store the data permanently in our system, but session storage, whenever we have to close the browser tab, it will clear. Okay, so that is the main difference. But sometimes local storage will occupy the data, so 5 MB to 10 MB, but session storage will occupy 5 MB. That is based on the browsers also. Okay, Fine. So these are the main things you have to explain. So remaining things like set item, get item. So we have to use what is that objects. So if you want to convert all those things, local storage, session storage. So what we have to do? So we have to use the parse method and stringify method for the objects because so set item, get item will take only string related values. Okay. So those things, if you want, you can explain. But main reason you have to first explain. So 23, so semantic elements I have already written, right? So semantic elements are responsive elements, header, footer, nav, article, section, fig caption. So these all are so related to the HTML5 semantic elements or responsive elements. So, but if you use these elements, you must understand the CSS or otherwise it doesn't look properly. So here, so where you want earlier, if you want to provide div ID equal to header, div ID equal to footer, like that we can provide and you have to give it. So now not required. Then what is the use of semantic element? Semantic means meaningful. Like if you want to provide any header, then div ID equal to header. We are using div tag, right? So div is next just simply division of area. But header means we have to use for that header only. So footer means we have to use only for footer only. Nav means only for navigation. If it is meaningful name is there, so that is nothing but semantic elements. So those are introduced from the HTML5 semantic elements, those things. Okay. So then, so local storage, session storage. So audio, video, that just tag names inside subtags. If you want to remember, you can explain. So SVG canvas, generally they want to use it for graphics level. So if anything asked, I did not work on, also no issues, very rare case we will use in real time. So based on their project, we will use it. So app caching mechanism. So earlier days, okay. So in the olden days, what we have to do, what is app cache? So what is app cache mechanism? In the olden days, if you want to provide static files like images, JavaScript files, we don't want to change those files. We have to keep it as it is. So every time we have to use those things only. But why we have to send request for those things? We have to store it into our local, right? So for that app cache mechanism, we have to maintain so that cache related files, cache, manifest, fallback. These are the three areas would be there. So we have to keep that hard coded static data so into our local file path would be there. So that file name should be app.app cache. So there, so we have to mention cache, manifest, fallback. So these things we have to provide that static related files, that dynamic related files, that fallback means if internet connection is wrong, I want to display every time the same page. Okay, so in those scenarios, we will use app cache, but nowadays, modern browsers will take care automatically this app cache mechanism. So earlier days, this app cache mechanism, we need to use it. So then only it will store it into those static related files. But next request onwards, it will fetch it from the local. Okay, fine. So what else? So data list is nothing but simply drop down, but hard-coded data. Yeah, what CSS3 features. So CSS3 means we have to use it first text shadow. Okay. So we have to use text shadow, box shadow, multi-column layout, linear gradient, radial gradient. So what else we have discussed? That's it. So we have discussed any other things, but here you need to remember. So this question, most of the interviews they are asking. So what is, so she told me, so I forgot her name. So what is WebKit? So WebKit is the, so like for Safari browser, if it doesn't work CSS3 features, then we have to prepare it with WebKit. So then only it works. So most of the browsers nowadays it's working, but still if it doesn't support CSS3 features, we have to prepend with Opera O, Mozilla Moz, Safari browser WebKit for Opera O. Okay, so remaining all browsers, we have to use it as it is. But inside that WebKit we are using, okay, so they don't want to use, okay, in CSS3 how can we use WebKit like that? Directly they will ask, so that WebKit is related to the HTML, CSS, JavaScript or React or Angular, you should have it. So then you have to think like that. Okay, 26. So difference between local and session storage, app cache mechanism, CSS3, what is WebKit? What okay, questions you ping it, right? Web caching. Web caching means app cache, you are saying, right? So is that Suraj? Okay, so that is app cache mechanism, we have to use it, or otherwise we have to use web storage mechanism. So nav is the one of these semantic elements. So if you want to provide a navigation, then we have to use nav. Okay, so then placeholder. So whenever you want to display in the text field default value, so at the time of calculator, we have seen the default value. So enter some value, something, right? So for that hint level, we are using placeholder attribute. Output of console. Yes, this is very important. Good, Roshan. Yeah, console.log nullify related things if you want to use it. How? Okay. So generally, so null and blank. So these two are falsy values. Okay. So then if you want to use not null, so then we are giving internally, okay, so not null, it is giving true. So this is falsy. For that we are providing not, it will give true. See here, F12. I have asked the reason, because why I asked the reason for someone, because I have already given that interview question for someone. If I ask the same question to someone else, I will ask the reason. First person I don't want to ask, next person I will ask the reason. Yeah, so not null, so true is coming. Even not blank also means empty, true will come. Because so falsy values, if you want to apply not, it will give the true values. But I have given question not null, then it will give false, because so not null means true, right? If you give not true, it will give the false, right? So that's why it will give the false. Not null or not blank, it will give the so false only. So and defined, undefined, I have already explained to them. So defined, so not undefined, so not defined, not defined. Okay, so undefined means if you declare variable, but at the time of accessing, if you try to access, then we will get the undefined. So whenever you should not declare any variable, directly we are accessing, then we will get the not defined. Yeah, inheritance. So JavaScript level inheritance, by using prototype keyword, we can achieve only ES5 JavaScript level. We will learn ES6. So then we will use extends keyword, implements keyword. That is the actual one. But before that, so we have used to prototype keyword. So then internally underscore proto underscore colon. So parent object we have to provide. We have seen those two examples. So by using that, we can achieve the inheritance. So inheritance means parent object related properties and methods we can access from the child object. Yes, this is good question. So type of one. So generally type of one, it will give the string, but most of the members, they will think it is a number, but that number within the quotes it will display. Just see, type of one, it is a number, but so that number is quoted with double quoted with, right, surrounding with double quotes. So then it is a string. So now if you type it, type of one, one. So first type of one, it will give the string. So for the type of string, it will give again string. Okay, did you understand? Okay, let me explain a little bit more. So type of one. So this type of one, it will return number only. The type is number, but that number is in quotes. So now if you provide anything inside the quotes, that is string, right? So this type of number, it will give string. So that is the answer. Okay. So this is 27th, right? Yeah. Any other questions? So most of the members, they may think, so type of one is number. So type of that number, so maybe it will give again number something. But actually, if you give type of one, it will give the number. So do you know this one is, so first of all, you should be aware of this one. Where a equal to true. Is it Boolean or string? It is a string, not Boolean. Whenever we have to provide true without quotes, then only it would be a Boolean. If you write number where a equal to 1, this is not number, this is a string. Even if you write anything within the quotes, that is a string. That's why we got here string value. Okay, any other? That's it. So how to define regex p syntax? Just we can ask two different approach. So by default, we can use regular expression, literal way. You can use new regex p, two approaches. So did I ask that question, Roshan? Yeah, any other questions? If I forgot, then please let me know. Okay, just note down that one, I think. So how to define regex p? So any other questions? But if you go for interview, so generally what the questions they will ask, prototype, closer. Okay, so then they will ask, so data types. Okay, so normally inside the JavaScript, and then they will give the syntaxes. So generally, hoisting, prototype, closer, hoisting, and as well as so syntaxes. So syntaxes means, so this type of one or something they will. I did not give the too many syntaxes because so we will take one more so interview, because first time, right, if I ask a little bit complicated one, then you feel so this much difficulty is there, you feel like that. So once you understand these things now, then I will go for a little bit coding level things. So I have given basic coding, basic simple things I have asked this time. So next time I will ask little bit long syntax, like related to the IIFE, for loop, arrays, so objects, these type of little bit inner level I will ask the questions. Mostly I will ask syntactic level. Then only you should understand programming. So did you note down all the things, questions? So if I ask something, so remaining members should note down all the questions. So Alkesh, so is there any other questions are pending?
No, sir. All of them are listed here.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, fine. So if you want to ask any questions, so we can ask, so 10 more minutes would be there. So tomorrow, as per Rohit request, so we will start Bootstrap, because so, and 3 more assignments are there I did not provide. I will provide it to Pooja. So, and moreover, so he told me to start Bootstrap instead of ES6. Okay, because after Bootstrap, they want to design some website. and they want to do some assignments type of things. Okay, then I said, okay, so I don't want to start ES6. I will start Bootstrap, then I will start ES6, and then we will see that React JS. So I forgot to explain ES6 is there, but he told me he asked only Bootstrap and React JS only. Even I forgot even fundamentals of jQuery also he requested. Now is it required or not? I will ask them. Okay, fine. So any other questions? If you have, then you can ask me. So tomorrow onwards, be prepared for the Bootstrap. And moreover, so before discussing Bootstrap, then I will try to explain CSS related something like media queries. So viewport. So how to use that media queries, how to use that viewport, I will explain. So then we will go to the Bootstrap. How can we write the so simple so responsive website? How can we define and all those things we will discuss.
Sir, one question.
Yes. Yeah, tell me.
Just out of curiosity, when we will be starting the ES6, how much days it will take to complete? Like how lengthy it is?
Yeah, ES6 is short only. I told him like hardly it will take 5 hours or 6 hours.
5 to 6. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So
Hello, sir.
for React, yeah, tell me who is that?
Paras, can you please scroll up a bit? I want to note down the starting 5 questions.
No, in the paint it is not possible, I think.
Okay,
Because
fine. I'll
so I
check the
did not
recording
like this.
afterwards.
Yeah, you can check recording and then you can note down those things.
Okay.
So any other questions? So the persons who are asking questions here, so even interviews also, they are mostly interacting. So, and most of the member, don't confuse. One simple answer I will provide you. So remaining members, so even if you don't know anything, so frankly I'm speaking, at the time of fresher, even I have communication problem. So even I don't have even knowledge also. So once I joined into the organization, I have learned Java. So then I realized, okay, Java is ocean. So we can learn so many things from the Java. If you know Java, then we can learn any related technology. So that may be Java, .NET, Python, it may be PHP, it can be anything we can learn easily if you know the Java. So that's why I have read Python. So if you know Java, then Python would be nothing. So that's why, so after joining into the organization, I have learned Java. So after that, so gone through the front-end technologies and all those things. But so even if you learn any one of the programming languages, so not only Java, not only .NET, not only Python, something, if you know any one of the programming languages, just learn the concepts. Do not learn programming language. So syntactics, we can get it anywhere from the Google or otherwise. So if you search for something, then we can get it. But how can we use? That is very important. Okay, so try to learn concepts wise. So how can we use? So can we apply here or not? If you apply, what will happen? So these type of techniques are very important for programming. But before writing any program, you should aware of fundamentals. These loops, so these operators, data types, and all those things are required. Okay, don't forget those things. So React JS, it will take, I'm not sure exactly. So I will discuss with Rohit because do we need to discuss about React this thing or not? So what is that function level? Hooks would be there. So do we need to discuss class level only or function level? If you want to go for hooks level, then it will take so minimum 25 hours. So 25 to 30 or 20 to 30 between. Okay, if you give more examples, then it will take a little bit time. So if you give based on 1 or 2 examples, then it will take less time. We will take interviews and all those things. It would be 20 to 30 hours. Okay, fine.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Hello. So could you explain the 13 number of point where time, console.log 1, then use timeout function and then 3. So output was 1, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Could you
So
explain that
generally,
point again?
yeah, generally callback functions will execute later, right? So first console.log will execute, it will display 1. Set timeout function, we have given 2000 milliseconds. So it will go to the particular area actually, so thread would be there. So extra thread would be there. It will take care about that one, that event loop mechanism will occur. So it will take time 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. Meanwhile, it will execute console.log 3. So once 2 seconds are over, then it will come to the stack and it will display that value. So that's why 1, 3, then it will display after 2 seconds the 2 value. So that is the 1, 3, 2 output, we will get it. Okay, fine. So we will meet again tomorrow with Bootstrap. I will take remaining members one-to-one sessions. Okay. So thank you so much. Bye. So I will take 10 minutes for each and every candidate. Don't forget remaining members. So please prepare well. Okay. Thank you.